I recently had an intimate moment with my brain that I felt I had to share with you in this video, and it reminded me about how I tried liking the Zodiac Killer and failed dismally. So it's my responsibility to show you how, so that you can avoid making the exact same mistake that I made. The first reason being that I'm goofy and playful in my growth zone, but the Zodiac Killer isn't. Bro spotted a young couple driving off of Lover's Lane in Vallejo, San Francisco like a rogue CIA agent, pulled up to their cab, loaded his trigger, aimed his strap at them, and terminated their life subscription contracts without pay nor sick leave from work. Bro, you made it harder for yourself to get a new fan in me. I may as well give my next Valentine's Day's gifts to James Charles and his future adopted kids instead of you. When the Zodiac Killer's physique got investigated by the feds, one of them thought that he looked like a tiny Twitter keyboard incel who lost his tax number. They also thought bro looked like a sexually disadvantaged air conditioner with Alzheimer's. And here I thought bro looked like the State of Israel being directed by Chris Nolan. Suddenly, the Zodiac Killer burnt out from his devious crimes and took a long break from the history books. Turned out he hid from us so that nobody caught him slipping in the streets to avoid massive defeats. That's a whole bar right there, so you better write that shit down. Never thought differently about his next set of victims that he squad wiped from existence until these two right here. This young couple loved fireworks and wanted them for their 4th of July honeymoon celebration until they caught the Zodiac Killer stalking them like Saddam Hussein's persecutors. So they outdrove him to a public parking space called Blue Rock Springs to scare him off with their numbers advantage, but they clearly underestimated his black Air Force energy. Eventually, the Zodiac Killer had enough of the shadow banning, so he violated the man in the driver's seat and offshored his wife from Earth completely. Tragically, the world stood still. The grieving injured young man called the feds and the ambulance to take care of the Zodiac Killer's mess. Evidently, he was desperate for vengeance after he watched his girl's corpse being wrapped into a body bag. Yet, he held his composure and helped the feds identify his supposed killer as if he wrote a diss track about him. Fam! He looked like James Bond collecting his monthly social security pension. Big four-headed ass boy. His arms were like Shaq if he threw Elon's spaceship to Mars. Gumball chubby face ass boy. His nose looked like Dr. Umar Johnson if he got ratted out by the Crips and Bloods for smashing snow bunnies from another universe. Tiger Woods head ass boy. Let's not talk about his lips. They look like MLK's if Malcolm X did plastic surgery on him. Kylie Jenner head ass boy. And the second reason why I failed to like him was because I break the rules, but the Zodiac Killer violates them. Mind you, the Zodiac Killer blew the entire justice system away, confessed his actions to the Blues before he hung up.
Vallejo Police Department.
I want to report a double murder.
Yeah, I have your
If you
name.
go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, public park, you'll find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
Oh nah, this man was on a rampage. All this without an origin story? Moments after, he DM'd the Vallejo Times-Herald, San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner in crude handwriting on paper because he believed that he would be caught red-handed if the feds deciphered his code successfully. In one of those DMs, he wrote,
Dear Editor, this is the murder of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl on the 4th of July near the golf course in Vallejo. To prove I killed them, I shall state some facts which only I and the police know. He proceeded to state details about the brand of ammo he used, how many shots were fired, and the victim's clothing. He continued with, here is a part of a cipher. The other 2 parts of this cipher are being mailed to the editors of Vallejo Times and San Francisco Examiner. I want you to print the cipher by the afternoon of Friday, 1st of August, 1969. I will go on a kill rampage Friday night. I will cruise around all weekend killing lone people in the night, then move on to kill again, until I end up with 12 people over the weekend.
Man, is Taylor Swift the Zodiac Killer's mother? Because he's an Easter egg-laying psychopath. Beneath his DMs, he gave them a pre-recorded live stream of an 8-line sequence full of complex characters mixed with Weber's code, Morse code, astrological signs, Greek symbols, and alphabetical letters. Then the Zodiac Killer sent locals, journalists, and the feds on an Easter egg hunting rampage for his ass before he fulfilled his promise.
I like killing because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all to kill.
Damn, bro really turned into Adam Levine and called us animals. Furthermore, the Zodiac Killer targeted another young couple who were on a peaceful sunny picnic date. I think I found Drizzy's long lost twin. He obsessed with minors. Suddenly, the Zodiac Killer pulled up, held them at gunpoint, and demanded their car keys with their money. That they did as they were told until he went back on his word, tied their hands up, and brutally stabbed them multiple times. Just like his previous bloodbath. The man who got stabbed survived, but his girl didn't. When all this unfolded, the Zodiac Killer was disguised in a peach jumpsuit and a black executioner type hoodie with the Zodiac sign below it. Except then, he fled with their car 500 feet away from the bloody crime scene like King Vong and Gleesh Place, left a crude cryptic note inside, and abandoned it cleanly before he announced his alleged double murder with the feds.
Napa Police Department. I want to report a murder. No. A double murder. They are 2 miles north of parking headquarters. They were in a white Volkswagen Carbon Gia. I'm the one that did it.
Nights later, armed Zodiac Killer entered a taxi cab for a ride home before he turned his cab driver into a Twitter hashtag. Next thing you know, the Zodiac Killer headshot him at point blank range in skedaddle and needed to be stopped immediately. Close by, 2 teenage witnesses at an apartment contacted 911 and reported a deadly murder incident. Right then and there, the feds spotted a man as they described, lumbering along in the fog. They stopped him in his tracks and asked him if he saw anybody who depicted suspicious behavior. Eventually, he was let go after his response had no leads to the crime scene. Little did the Blues know that the man they spoke with was the Zodiac Killer, and the teenage witnesses fatally misunderstood his identity for a black man!
No! 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 Why?
This brings my third reason for me failing to like him, being that I find kids cool to hang around with, but the Zodiac Killer doesn't. Not far from them, the feds received another DM from the Zodiac Killer about the drenched cloth which importantly read,
This is the Zodiac speaking. I am the murderer of the taxi driver over by Washington Street and Maple Street last night. To prove this, here is a blood-stained piece of his shirt. I am the same man who did in the people in the North Bay area. The SF police could have caught me last night if they had searched the park properly instead of holding road races with their motorcycles, seeing who can make the most noise. The letter continues, ridiculing the SFPD before ending with a chilling threat. It reads, School children make nice targets. I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire and then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out.
On Odin's son, this man remarked, them kids, and sent the entire community into a frenzy. After what felt like forever, all school buses in Vallejo were elusively patrolled by the feds in plain clothes. From him, they realized that the Zodiac Killer called a bluff on them as a distraction from his master plan. Lo and behold, 2 more DMs from him,
boasting about 2 more murders. In the first letter, there's a card that reads, Sorry I haven't written, but I just washed my pen. On the inside it reads, This is the Zodiac speaking. I thought you would need a good laugh before you hear the bad news. You won't get the news for a while yet. P.S. Could you print this new cipher in your front page? I get awfully lonely when I'm ignored. So lonely I could do my thing.
The second one uncovered a longer, more challenging code that remained unsolved from approximately 50 years until December 2020 when a group of code-breaking rookies cracked it flawlessly with computer-engineered software which read,
I hope you were having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a good point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber. The letter continues and says that he will have his slaves work for him in the afterlife, a belief that he expressed in his first letter back in 1969.
After a while, he targeted a woman driving her car at a deserted freeway. The Zodiac Killer honked his hoots and alerted her that one of her back tires were flat. Little she realized that the Zodiac Killer played her. From then on, she stopped her car and deliberately allowed him to sabotage one of them. Unfortunately, she found out that she drove back on the road before the Zodiac Killer abducted her. It was not long after he admitted that he would toss her baby out of her car for good. Against all odds, the Zodiac Killer's target rolled out of his front passenger seat with her baby intact and got instantly reported addicted to the blues. Following this, the Zodiac Killer eliminated any leads of him after he drove back to a car and torched it until dawn like the LA forest fires. In no time, he DM'd the feds again and read,
This is the Zodiac speaking. By the way, have you cracked the last cipher I sent you? My name is, followed by a 13-character cipher which, when decoded, is supposed to contain the Zodiac's name. But because the cipher is only 13 characters long, it is nearly unsolvable. There have been thousands of possible solutions to the cipher, but no way of knowing whether any of them are correct. The letter continues with the Zodiac claiming he's killed 10 people to date, and that he would have killed more, except the bomb he was going to use was a dud.
See, the Zodiac Killer's aura farming fed families throughout generations. Even so, the man who baths with water changes his clothes, but the Zodiac Killer changed history by bathing in blood. This is why I'm not ashamed failing to admire a serial killer and his actions. It's just that his motives weren't aligned with my principles, and I'm perfectly at peace with this realization. I am the Monthly, and this is goodbye.